Someone had once said to me, if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen. We use Buildium every day, and we considered if it wasn't in Buildium, it didn't happen or it won't happen.
Welcome everybody. Lori with Buildium, the platform that lets you control the chaos, sharpen operations, and take on more doors. We are super excited. We have launched Marketplace, an ecosystem of proven software solutions that fully integrates with Buildium, helping property managers streamline processes and truly own their data. Tech is tough. Putting together the right tech stack can be really, really hard. And so we've brought together 3 expert property managers who have put together their own tech stacks. They've run through all of these pain points, and now they're using Marketplace to help them. And so we've brought them here to talk through their processes and maybe give you a few ideas on how to improve your tech and use Marketplace in the process. First and foremost, I'd love to have each of you introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about your property management company, and talk about how tech sort of helps you run your day-to-day.
Well, my name's Travis Martinez. I'm the broker owner of Greener Montana Properties. We're in Western Montana, and we're a small office. I think statistically, we manage a lot of doors for just having a few of us. We use technology to help leverage that. Whether we're operating in the office or out in the field, we're able to converse as if we were all sitting in one room.
Dave, do you want to give us a quick intro?
My name is Dave Gorham. I'm the president, founder, and key visionary for Realty Solutions. We're a property management company in the Northeast in New Jersey. We've grown significantly in the last 22 years, mostly in the last 7 or 8, probably on the heels of technology. And we're a company that serves the community management and HOA sector, as well as the real estate investor. We also have a law office and a brokerage. So we're hovering at about 2,000 residential doors on community management and 600 single family rental investments on the property management. So, we have fun doing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like the rest of you. And technology definitely serves us well when it's controlled as a true tool.
Excellent. All right. And Nick, give us a quick intro.
Yeah, no worries. So my company, UK Property Management, is in San Francisco Bay Area, the broker owner. I just started this company a couple months ago, so I'm at 7 doors right now. When I left my last company, I was managing 50 employees and 1,600 units in the Bay Area, and had a huge tech stack to do that. So I am enjoying the process of building it from scratch right now, and really being selective about how I build that tech stack out.
So I want to start off by talking about tech in general and how you've integrated it into your day-to-day. Can any of you sort of talk about any examples of manual processes that you have turned to a software solution or an app to sort of help you automate and bring that into a more cost-effective solution for your company?
The first real systematized aspect of property management we did probably 12 years ago was tenant screening that integrated into Buildium. That was a game changer 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. We look at it now where we kind of take it for granted. Plus there's a lot of other resources. There weren't a lot of great resources. Mm-hmm. So our shift to Buildium was probably within the last 10 years. And we took on that process of making Buildium as a software, a partner rather than just a tool. So that was a change in culture about 8 years ago.
I like that phrase, Dave, about Buildium as a partner, because I'm a big fan of Buildium, and I've always liked them. And
yep.
One of the soft processes that we've used that technology has helped, and I still am amazed at how many property managers and landlords don't use technology, is condition reports. I was talking with Lori before this session. we were using Happy Inspector before Buildium integrated it, and it's amazing. And I love Happy Inspector. It saves us so much time. And then when I take on a new property and I see another property management company and they have this handwritten thing with no pictures, it's just makes me cringe. And so that not only does it save us time, it saved us money in lawsuits, and I think just tenants expect it.
Yeah, so I was going to just tag on to what you guys are saying. One of the recent software solutions that I onboarded at my last position and I'm using currently was for income verification. That was generally like a cold case where you're digging into everyone's paper things that they bring into you, stubs and all that. And now you've got a lot of paper fraud where they're altering them and stuff. So I started using a solution called the Closing Docs that uses Plaid to integrate with their online banking and verify that they're getting the income they claim from the sources they claim, and it's regular and so on. So that's been a huge boost to just saving my time and energy. Aside from that, the biggest one for me was just a CRM. So I use Buildium. It's my primary, my management software. It's my accounting. It's my maintenance. It's all those things. But for onboarding clients, I am using a marketplace partner, which is Lead Simple. Used so many CRMs over the years, and I found it to be the most impressive CRM that I've used. That they have, processes included, so it'll help with scale. I've got my processes very clear and understandable, and it's in a all in one place. My communications with all my residents, which is what attracted me to Buildium in the first place, was capturing all communications. And so now I've got it on the front end for bringing them in, and then it's a nice smooth transition into Buildium. But those are my primary. Aside from Buildium and Lead Simple, I've got a myriad of lead source softwares and other such that I'm using, but I'm being real slow about what I'm onboarding.
So let's dive into Marketplace a little bit more. We've talked a little bit about around, what you're using for tech, how you're using it, and then came along Marketplace and you volunteered to be a beta tester for it. First of all, what apps have you chosen to use within the ecosystem, and what are your sort of initial reactions to using Marketplace and that first day that you used it?
I'm very excited on the new different companies you're going to do. We talked a little bit about pet screening. We use pet screening already. We have to do a workaround in order to, I guess workaround probably is the wrong term, but it's an extra step to get it into Buildium, because I love Dave's comment. If it's not in Buildium, it didn't happen. We operate that way. Everything goes in Buildium because that's just where we go for everything. So and when we do a screening on pet screening, we have to then print a PDF, upload it as a file. And I love the fact that we can do that. But if it's already integrated, that's just amazing. So I'm very excited for all those different companies.
We were already in the mindset of open API, upgraded subscription, and creating our own marketplace when you guys rolled it out. So we had a lot of our other vendors or other apps creating things for us to make that integration, and some of them were not the same. So we jumped ship from one vendor to another based on the marketplace. Obligo is a good example. Both of the collection companies, another good example, because we had a collection company was probably on par for the two that you have in marketplace, but the integration wasn't there. So we had to make that switch. Any of the other services that are inside Buildium, I would look at as marketplace, your add-on services. That's kind of a marketplace that you've already developed for yourself. We do all of them. So my team, my whole company is tasked and challenged with, we're not just using something, we need to hyper use it and look at every angle and every nook and cranny of it. If we're going to buy a tool, you better know the whole tool inside and out, because it gets expensive. So what we're looking at this year is not just the challenge of creating efficiencies, but now it's about how to monetize every one of those efficiencies. Because I'm in a different spot than say Nicholas building at 7. I would love to have that experience again and build what I have here up. But the key point, and I'm sure you're going to bring this from your other company, the key point is profit, and a plus net profit. So all of these things can be monetized to a point where you are creating a higher service level for your clients. That's everything that we're talking about now is, whereas maybe 10 years ago, it would be looked at as junk fees and nickel and diming your client. Now it's about service. And each one of those services creates an efficiency, which of course helps our expense of labor costs, but there's an expense to that software and there is a premium service that client's getting. So for us, it's about driving revenue up. And we've seen a significant uptick in the last year because of that attitude.
Absolutely. Now,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Finish. I was going to say you have Pest Share, petscreening.com. I love Nicholas's idea on the Lead Simple back and forth. We've been a Lead Simple client since day one. So that was a natural path, it seemed, for them and for you guys, which was awesome.
Now, maybe it's a little early, but do any of you have any measurable impact or ROI sort of outcomes that have come out about because of Marketplace that you could share?
I couldn't tangibly share based off of Marketplace. Mm-hmm. Because again, Lead Simple is a workflow, so that's going to take a while to monetize. The Hunter, the collection services, we were doing it anyway. So I think it's probably a better case of in a year we'll be able to look at that. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the return on the investment, but where's the revenue driving? Mm-hmm. Right? Because we've been able to keep our labor costs low because of the inefficiencies that we've done in the last 5 years. That's not to say that we're not hiring. We will hire more senior level people because most of the time these tech stacks are doing junior level work, right? So we're strategically kind of making that happen. So now I don't have it right now, but I know our revenue has significantly went up.
All of these solutions out there, right? And if they're not in one central place where you can sort of pick and choose, how do you choose?
For me, it's always trial and error. I learn by experiencing the pain personally, and I know what works and doesn't work. So it's a function of that and my actual available time with wearing all the hats I'm wearing at the moment, that I don't have the luxury of researching several solutions at a time. So I kind of go slowly, try ones, see how well it goes through the whole process, if it helped me or not, before I move on to the next one or don't. Other
than logistics, that's really the answer, right? So one of the key things we did about 4 years ago is just try to prioritize where are we losing the most money? And that's not just expense or revenue, that sometimes that's labor cost, right? Which, goes right to screening, which we've got a robust screening application now that does exactly what you're saying, Nicholas, is that immediate verification through bank systems. It's fantastic. But guess what? That wasn't available 4 years ago. Right. So not only that, Lori, taking it slow, sometimes you have to wait for the technology to catch up. We can dream of a lot of things. Why didn't Buildium do this marketplace 10 years ago? Well, there wasn't that many people using an open API and all those, buzzwords that made it as easy to create just a marketplace. So I think some of it is timing and logistics, and some of it is just really knowing what where you're losing money.
Travis, do you have anything to add on that front?
We're all pretty much beating the same drum.
Okay.
I think technology, the biggest thing I have to do when I onboard a new process is get buy-in from my staff, because they're like, you're going to make us learn something new. Is this really going to stick? It makes me second guess everything and then really, really buy into it before I try to roll it out.
Sure. And I would imagine part of that buy-in too is, okay, now I'm going to add another solution. How is that, how am I going to juggle that with all the other solutions I have? How is that going to work? Because we looked into it and I think we found something like property managers are balancing something like between 40 and 100 apps at a time.
Right.
You're all nodding. Yep. You know, if you don't have a solution like Marketplace, is that something that you look at and say, okay, if I add this, is this actually a blessing or a burden? Because now there's something else I have to manage.
Yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes in what Travis was saying, in thinking that it was a great idea and looking at it like if I was doing it. But there's a piece to that it's got to flow out to, your team, and your team has wide variety of opinions. And a lot of times you don't know what they do on a daily basis in the grind, right? Especially as the company grows. So, part of that is, to Travis's point, getting buy-in, but then also just not recognizing that everything's a silver bullet. I was trying to find a silver bullet years ago, till I came to the conclusion that there is none. Even one solution is still going to have its cons. And a lot of it right now is integration. Right? That's the biggest con. No matter how good your solution is, the pro and the con's always an integration challenge.
I mean, with the apps that you have already running, what is it like on a day-to-day basis, sort of using those apps? Walk me through sort of how you manage all of the apps that you are using for your accounting and your pet screening and whatever it is that you're using.
What we've done as a company and as a team, very much so in the last 2 years, is we've had what Travis said was buy-in completely. So when it's been adopted, the team figures out how to make it into their daily process. So it's not a case of like a checklist. There's actually a workflow process that has whatever app is in it, that has it noted, right? Go do this as an example, go to here as an example. So tenant screening is a great example. Is we have pet screening and we have another screening outside inside our application screening. So there's actually 3 screenings that happen, but we've been able to package them into one. We did the manual process to package that. So it looks like it's one area, but in essence, it's 4 apps, right?
I have routine when I get in the office. I've got 3 tabs that's open. Buildium's one of them. We use Microsoft, so I've got Microsoft open, where we use not only the email but Teams, Microsoft Teams. That's kind of our. If we're not in Buildium, we're in that because we're communicating, and a lot of things. You were talking about integration. A lot of things integrate into that. I've got those open, and everything else is secondary to those. And while I use so many apps and so many of them are on a tablet or a phone, I try to narrow it down to those, because I didn't count them, but I feel like I would easily have 40 different apps that I use. And if I was bouncing from one to another, I wouldn't get anything done. So I try to narrow it down to the top 3.
We use Buildium every day, and we considered if it wasn't in Buildium, it didn't happen, or it won't happen. So from a tracking and deliverable aspect, you got some accountability through that piece of software. So our apps, or at least the usage of those external apps, might be noted in Buildium, whether it's a to-do or an event or a task. So again, there's a repository that happens with all the data. We're able to actually see that.
If it's not in Buildium, it didn't happen. I love it. All right, final question. What is your, if you could have it all, what is your dream state of technology for property management?
I would love to have a single tablet with a single program that I could just pull up, and in a very Star Trek world type feel, it just gave me all the information I want. Knowing that that's not going to happen in my lifetime, I like the idea of more the dashboards and having. I love how Buildium has the different tiles that you can put in the dashboards. I'd love for that to be maybe built out a little bit more, to where maybe some of the partners could have their own tiles that you could rearrange and put to where at a glimpse you could see so much, and then dive into whatever app you need to on that day.
I'd agree with that. Single point of contact is what I wrote. Although I don't agree with you, Travis. I think it's 5 years away.
It could be. It probably is.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll be the first.
Yeah.
I'd like to see continued focus on capturing communication, the document, which is what I repeat to my teams, as we've all said here. I just love to know that on all my devices, no matter where I am, what I'm doing, any call from anyone, prospect, tenant, owner, it's captured and I don't have to do anything with it. It's in my system. I don't have to worry about it, whether it's transcribed or a recording or something.
Yeah.
I know it's captured without my worrying about it. And, right now going and printing all my emails to PDF and making sure they're attached if it wasn't automatically captured, and, just everything, because I'm always ready to hit print and go to court. So I need to know it's all captured. So the more automated that could be, the better for me.
Thank you all so much for joining this panel and for all of your wonderful insights. Thank you for joining us as well. If you'd like to learn more, click the link below to learn more about Marketplace.